The Burnside Street Farmers Market in Portland smells like wet grass and cinnamon rolls. For Nora Vance, it's a place to remain anonymous, carrying a canvas bag and a cup of Ethiopian pour-over through the Saturday morning crowd. That morning routine is shattered by a short, startled gasp and the hollow sound of a folding chair hitting the pavement. Gerald Marsh, the market's volunteer director and its self-proclaimed heart, is slumped sideways in his chair outside the Owl Kettle coffee trailer. By the time paramedics arrive, Gerald is dead. The consensus is immediate and quiet. His doctor had flagged his heart the previous spring, and the market manager notes his history of high blood pressure. It appears to be a natural end for a man who never slowed down. But Nora notices the cup on Gerald's table. It's still completely full. There isn't a single sip missing, and not even a lipstick ring or a smudge on the rim. 3 different witnesses place Gerald at that table for at least 20 minutes, yet the coffee is undisturbed. He had ordered it, sat down with it, and never once lifted it to his lips. Nora speaks with Owen, the 22-year-old barista who served Gerald his final order. Gerald was a creature of habit. He always ordered a large black drip coffee and sat at the same table every single Saturday. But that morning, Owen saw something unusual. After sitting down with his coffee, Gerald suddenly returned to the counter. He told Owen he had changed his mind and wanted a different drink entirely. He ordered a flat white, an espresso drink heavy on steamed milk. This was a biological contradiction for Gerald, who had a known lactose intolerance and never ordered milk-based drinks. Gerald took the second cup back to his table, but Owen noticed he didn't drink that one either. He just sat there, staring at the cup as if he were waiting for it to cool. Ordering a drink he couldn't physically tolerate suggests the coffee was a placeholder. Gerald was using the second order to buy himself time and a reason to stay near the counter, away from whatever was waiting at his table. Market politics provided plenty of motives. Diane Cho, a pickle vendor, had recently been denied a larger stall by Gerald. Mark Ellison, the co-director, had been openly eyeing Gerald's board position for 2 years. Diane even kept a jar of homemade capsaicin extract in her stall. In high enough concentrations, the heat of the chili extract is potent enough to trigger a cardiac event in a vulnerable subject. Then there was Patricia Marsh, Gerald's wife. She arrived at the market at noon, hours after her husband had died, claiming she was there to collect his personal items from the organizer's tent. Despite the shock of the morning, she arrived carrying a large, structured tote bag. She was composed and prepared to carry things away from a scene she supposedly had no reason to visit that day. Gerald always insisted that Patricia stay out of market business, calling it his domain. Her arrival 3 hours late, equipped with a bag for his belongings, points to a plan to retrieve something specific. Owen eventually recalls a final detail. Patricia had been at the market much earlier than noon. Around 8:45 a.m., she stopped by Gerald's table and left a small object, what Owen thought was a note, before walking away. When the timeline shifts, the sequence is clear. Gerald sat down and found the object his wife left. This created the stall period. Gerald understood the threat, retreated to the counter to buy a decoy coffee, and stalled while deciding his next move. Patricia's return at noon wasn't for her husband, it was for the note. She used the large tote bag to ensure whatever evidence she had left was removed from his personal effects before the police could process them. The untouched cup wasn't a sign of a sudden attack. It was the physical evidence of a man who was still alive, but already paralyzed by the realization of what his wife had done. Monday morning, the setting shifts to Detective Ramos's office. Nora Vance lays out the testimony from the barista and the inconsistencies in the timing of the tote bag. Nora focuses on the routine Patricia knew so well. She knew when Gerald arrived, where he sat, and what he drank. And she knew to clean up the scene, she had to come back for the one thing Owen saw her leave on the table. Patricia remains composed, her hands folded in her lap. She doesn't offer an explanation or a confession. She simply looks out the window and asks, "What note?" But Detective Ramos notes the behavioral contradictions Nora uncovered, the milk drink Gerald couldn't have, and the wife who brought a suitcase-sized bag to a crime scene. He asks Patricia to stay for further questioning. In a world of rigid habits, a single cold cup tells the story. Gerald Marsh realized he could never take another sip.